You are good to go.
Great. Thank you, Seth. Good evening, everybody. I'm now going to call to order our February 23rd, 2021 regular town board meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Here.
Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to move on to approval of the minutes. First, we have the minutes of the January 26, 2021 regular town board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Madam Supervisor.
Thank you. Are there any changes, additions, or subtractions to those minutes? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, and those minutes are approved. Next, we have the minutes of the February 9, 2021 special town board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Madam Supervisor.
Thank you so much. Are there any changes, additions, or subtractions to those minutes? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And those minutes are approved. We're going to move on to privilege of the floor. I received, as of right now, let me quickly check my spam. Okay, looks like we're all right. I have one email that was submitted for last town board meeting that was missed due to email issues. So I'm going to read that first, and I have an additional emailed submission as well. So I'm going to begin with Kevin Duffy of 1508 Keys Avenue. And he writes, Supervisor Syed and members of the town board, after carefully reviewing the report issued last week, now of course this was over a month ago, I write because I am shocked at the questions left unanswered by Nixon PBD's $150,000 investigation, despite our town having paid this firm what equates to a 2% tax increase on Niskuna's residents. These questions include, number one, what did then town attorney Rob Hess do when he, as determined by the investigation, learned about the picture of the Bob Marley costume in 2018? Why didn't Hess bring it to the town board in 2018? Why did he seemingly ignore his duty to care towards his client, the town board of and Niskuna's taxpayers, by negligently failing to promptly inform them of potential liability? Number two, did Rob Hess tell anyone in Progressive Schenectady, like his wife, the group's co-founder, Sunny Lee, about the aforementioned picture? Number three, Linnell Engelmeyer, the other co-founder of Progressive Schenectady, was a Twitter follower of Niski Leaks for over a year before she and Progressive Schenectady felt compelled to act on the 2-year-old post about the Marley picture and make demands for Paul Sebastia's head. When Engelmeyer first followed the account, the Sebesta post was some of the only content and was impossible to avoid because the photo was at the top of the account's landing page. The fact that Engelmeyer was a follower of the Niski Leaks page for over a year prior to her demands is supported by incontrovertible digital evidence. Despite this, in a June 17, 2020 Facebook post, Engelmeyer claimed to have only become aware of the Marley costume picture, quote unquote, last weekend. While compelled Engelmeyer to begin making public statements and issuing demands over the image in June 2020, was she seeking to exploit the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police to advance her own agenda? Number four, to summarize the prior two questions, what did the quote unquote progressive co-founders of Progressive Schenectady know and when did they know it? Did they actually, as they claim, only learn of the picture in summer of 2020, or are they lying? For 4 years, Niskuna residents have endured the sanctimoniousness greed of progressive Schenectady with its leadership triumvirate claiming to be the gatekeepers of liberal purity in our community, despite their own long records to the contrary. Propping up and supporting Republican Party candidates for office while masquerading as a quote-unquote progressive organization is laughable, but that same organization ruining the life of a 32-year career public servant and manipulating the murder of a man at the hands of police to advance their own agenda is nothing short of sickening. This investigation was an absolute waste of money, and unfortunately, it created more questions than it answered. Niskuna's taxpayers deserve answers about Rob Hess, and they deserve to know the truth behind the motivations of quote-unquote progressive Schenectady. And that ends that emailed letter. Our next emailed letter was submitted by Joseph Heyer of 2053 Lexington Parkway. And Joseph writes, Dear Supervisor Syed and town board members, as you know, a report on traffic volume on Wyoming Avenue was presented at the January 26, 2021 regular town board meeting. In 1 month, 10,992 drivers drove down Wyoming Avenue, according to the study done by the Niskuna Police Department. The study recorded vehicles driving in one direction only. If one assumes that an equal number of cars traveled in the opposite direction, something close to 22,000 cars per month, or 730 cars per day, traveled on Wyoming Avenue. That is a lot of volume for a short residential road. Wyoming Avenue is a quote-unquote cut-through, or shortcut to Sheridan Apartments, Steinmetz Park, and Van Franken Avenue in the city of Schenectady. Lexington Parkway and Baker Avenue and Niskuna feed into it. At the January 5th, 2021 Police and Public Safety Committee meeting, it was further found that of those 10,992 vehicles, 1,990 vehicles traveled between 31 and 40 miles per hour, 22 traveled between 41 and 45 miles per hour, and 3 were going over 46 miles per hour. Again, assuming that drivers drove in a similar way in the opposite direction, it is estimated that 4,030 drivers exceeded the posted 30 mile per hour speed limit in the month the study was conducted. 1 out of every 6 drivers was speeding down that short residential road. I want to thank the Niskuna Police Department for putting numbers on what many town people knew was a problem but were unable to quantify. Since there have been numerous complaints of speeding in town over the years, I wonder if similar circumstances exist on other roads too. Lexington Parkway, McClellan Street, Niskuna Drive, Knott Street East, and Regent Street, in addition to Wyoming Avenue, are a few town roads that come to mind. Perhaps the Niskuna Police Department could put more speed measuring devices on those roads to identify other speeding hotspots in quantifiable form and develop a comprehensive plan to enforce the town's 30 mile per hour speed limit. I understand that only 1 speeding summons was issued on Wyoming Avenue over the past 5 years. And that concludes that email letter. So with no further letters left to read this evening, I'm going to close privilege of the floor, and I'm going to move on to our committee reports. And I'm going to begin with Councilwoman Jakewith.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. This is the report of the Highway, Parks, and Recreation Committee. On community programs, I have the following updates. Adult Tai Chi, due to the extension of the closure of town facilities, the new start date for this program will be Tuesday evenings from March 16th to May 25th. Registration's open online. The Bunny Parade, it's currently scheduled for Friday, April 2nd. The details will be blasted as the date approaches, and with, if all goes well, we'll be able to hold that even in some modified form. The summer program book. Work has begun on the summer program book, and we're very hopeful to be able to run most, if not all, of our favorite programs. We're targeting April 1st for the completion of the book and the posting and registration. Senior Center updates. Sorry about that. The lunch partnership with Gershon's continues. It's going well, and it's very well received. Also, we'd like to thank CDPHP. They've extended their free lunch on Mondays into March. We're very thankful for that. Staff is preparing for the reopening of the Senior Center, and we'll be ready when we're given the green light. Staff is working on updating email communications, messages for papers and churches, along with the April calendar. While preparing for reopening, staff understands that they'll have to continue to support some seniors who'll be homebound for a while. The Eddie Chair Yoga will transition to in-house starting on the 18th, and all others will transition over time. The staff is also scheduling some defensive driving classes for May and June. February saw the continuation of birthday celebrations. They were delivered 3 dozen cupcakes and 44 activity packets to our lovely seniors. Staff has continued to provide assistance by way of communication and other support for seniors still navigating the COVID vaccine process. They put together a compilation of information in an email that was disseminated broadly. It was an excellent work by our staff. I commend our staff for the extraordinary efforts they're exerting in support of our seniors with the vaccination process and otherwise, being of tremendous support to our seniors. Farmers Market, we've begun regular meetings. We are looking to expand to a 15-week season this year. We had great success this past year, even despite all the COVID restrictions at the Town Hall Green. We plan to continue that location and perhaps expand it as a community service, COVID restrictions willing. We did make a few $100s, even though it's a community service, we did make a few $100s from that event last year. We've saved our signs. We're, trying to be economically prudent by reusing them and also environmentally friendly by reusing those. So we plan to do that and again, save some additional money, hope to make some additional money, but most importantly, serve our community members who really, really enjoyed it. And it's nice that it's a small revenue generator as well, but the principal service of it is to our community. We're also working to get youth sports organizations on our fields and using our facilities as quickly as possible. Working on a number of licensing agreements with some youth organizations in that regard. Onto highway and parks. Highway crews have been out 11 times sanding and 12 times plowing this season. Crews have also been working on resident request lists from basin repairs to tree trimming when weather permits, along with patching a lot of potholes. Parks crews have been clearing snow at various town facilities, along with refurbishing benches and picnic tables used in our parks in the summer season. And that's it for tonight. Our next meeting will be virtually again on March 3rd at 8:15 a.m. Thank you, Madam Supervisor.
Great, thank you so much. We're now going to move on to Councilman Delarada.
Thank you and good evening. Excuse me, I'm a little hoarse. We met on the 5th of February and we're going to be meeting on March 5th, first Friday of March. The big news in the Economic Development Committee is the Rivers Ledge project. Of course, that is going to be a beautiful 16 building development on the Mohawk River, approximately 10 apartment units in each building. They have poured their first footing and they're looking to get their first 8 buildings done by the end of this year. So that is very good news. Also, we have more committee spots to fill, although we do want to welcome our new board members. We do still have several spots on the Architectural Review Board and the Climate Smarts Community Task Force. So check the website out for that. Also, be sure to visit the new Ace Hardware store if you haven't already on Balltown Road. That's a great spot. The now only local hardware store in the county, I believe. And again, we meet again on March 5th at 8:30 virtually. Hope to see you all then. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. We're now going to move on to Councilwoman McGraw.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. John Delarada did not go hoarse from yelling at me. I don't know what that's all due to, but thanks for powering through there, John. I have just a couple of very quick things. Many of you have seen news reports nationally about water supply safety issues. There's been a series of hacks of water treatment plants and water plants around the country. And we sent out an email earlier this month, and I just want to reiterate that our plant and the way it is set up, is not vulnerable to such a hack. We're going to be doing some upgrades later this year and into next year, where we'll be upgrading our computer system and digitizing many of the operations there. But for right now, we are safe from any of those kind of hacks. And obviously, moving forward, we are aware of this kind of vulnerability, and we are working with teams of people that will ensure that the upgrade project will be safeguarded against those. I just wanted to mention again, because I'm just so very proud of them, our water folks and our Public Works Department won the New York Water Environment Association Sustainability Award. This year, they were presented their award last week. I tip my hat to our Superintendent of Water and Sewer and Engineering, Public Works, many titles, Matt Yetto, and his team, who made that possible and brought yet another award to our award-winning Public Works Department. So I'm just thrilled about that. A couple of things on the agenda that I did want to mention is I'm thrilled to see we're moving ahead again with the grant writer position. I want to thank our comptroller for putting out an RFP and interviewing folks. As those of you who have been following these meetings for the last few years know, that the supervisor and I have worked very hard on this issue for the last few years. I think we did it in her first budget. I added the money for a grant writer, just a consultant, a few $1,000s to try to get us started on that. And then the following year, we did a bunch of interviews. We put out an RFP. We put out notice for it. We interviewed folks. We thought we had settled on someone, and then the person that we had asked to take on the consultancy, they just weren't able to fulfill it. We reached out to another person. The person we're going to be putting on tonight, actually, she just wasn't able to fit us in properly. So I'm very grateful, and I'm sure I speak for the supervisor when I say thank you, Ismet Alam, who yet again took on another project and put out the RFP and found us a consultant to move forward on the grants project. That's been something that's been very important to me for the last 3 years. I know it is for the supervisor and for Councilman Delarada as well. So I'm thrilled that that's moving forward tonight. I wanted to mention, we've had a bunch of questions about the retirement incentive that we had in the budget. And many people have expressed some concern. They felt it was very rich. They didn't really understand. I will just give one example. We have replaced our IT, director of IT, our information services person. And by them taking the retirement incentive and us bringing on a new person, just in that one position alone, we're saving about $30,000. So the whole idea is that folks who have been here for a long time are at the top of the salary chart, and have the retirement that we pay in for them and all the benefits and everything that's associated with them. If we bring in a newer person who would be at the lower end of the salary scale, there are savings to that. Some positions may not be filled. They may be filled in other ways, but I and the comptroller can speak to it best, but this is why many municipalities do this, is to glean a savings, and we think that we're going to be able to do that, and I think we're already seeing that. So for folks who just weren't quite sure why we were doing that, or it was some sort of gift to people, I just wanted to explain it one more time, because it was a few months ago that we did it and may have just gotten lost in whatever we talked about. And then the one last thing I was going to mention is, I'm not sure if it's going to be for our agenda meeting or it's going to be at the meeting at the end of next month. We're working to bring the one and only Neil Golub to one of our next meetings in March, so he can talk to us about his new initiative, which is rebranding and renaming Schenectady Metro, and all the work that he's put into that. They're publishing a book. They're doing a lot of different things, and he's looking for feedback. but he's also looking to try to present it for people who have not heard it firsthand so far. So look for more information about when Neil Golub is going to be addressing us to talk about his new rebranding effort for our entire Schenectady Metro community. My next meeting of the Public Works Committee is March 4th. Thank you very much, Madam Supervisor.
Great, thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to Councilman McPartlin.
Thank you, Supervisor. The Police and Public Safety Committee met on February 2nd. Operationally, the chief discussed some of the department's officers that may have had close contact with COVID and the staffing issues that were related to that. We also discussed at our meeting that the police reform and reinvention subcommittees are continuing to meet, and as you know, that is going well and continues to progress on the timeline to get that done by the governor's mandated date. The department has also partnered with Northern Rivers Mobile Crisis Service. This partnering is going to be used for mental health calls with our police department. Northern Rivers is a crisis management service, and when able, they will also help in dispatching personnel to mental health calls. So this is a great improvement for our department, and this partnering with them hopefully will help in any kind of mental health calls that our officers have to go on. Fleet and equipment wise, we were getting our bids together for 2 new vehicles. As usual, we rotate our vehicles to keep our fleet in the best condition possible and to be more economical for the town. Training wise, the chief reports that in 2021, they're getting ready for their training to be scheduled. Some of this training will be virtual and some of the training will be in person. We discussed citizen issues, as you read earlier in the privilege of the floor. Wyoming Ave is an area of interest to our residents. We are continuing to patrol that area and do traffic studies to try to alleviate any of the speeding in that area by patrols and the radar speed signs and the tools that we have to try to eliminate some of that. We also got a traffic complaint about Fieldstone Drive. We did a study there. So after that study was complete, it's also determined that we need to continue to keep our patrols up in that area to discourage speeding in that area. We are putting together a bid package for the towing services for the police department, working with our legal department to get a bid together so that other companies can bid for towing in the town. Town clerk had nothing to report. The court, our judges report that they are going to be having some of their first virtual sessions, possibly beginning of February, they reported. We'll see how that goes. They have 1 employee, Barb Pigeon, a long-term employee with the town. I want to thank her for her service. She is going to be leaving us in the court, and the person that was underneath her is going to be promoted to that position. The fire chief reported that the District 1 Fire Department has been COVID-free, and most of the department has now also completed their 2nd vaccination. And we have a retirement in the police department. This, as Councilwoman McGraw spoke about, was due to the retirement incentive. We have an officer that has been with us for over 34 years. He will be retiring from the department, and as Councilwoman McGraw said, these are cost savings to the town because when new people get hired, it's obviously at a lower level than the people that are retiring. And our next meeting is going to be March 2nd at 8 a.m. That's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. Now that we've concluded our committee reports, I'll move on to the supervisor's report. I have 2 quick items to report on before we move into our resolution portion. Councilman McPartlin briefly touched on the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative. I want to follow up with a brief announcement and to buttress what he said. We are on target to have our plans submitted to the state by the deadline, which is April 1st. We will have a full draft posted on March 2nd. So that will be 7 days prior to the public hearing, which will take place on March 9th. So that will be a special town board meeting on March 9th. So that's, again, Tuesday, March 9th at 7 p.m. Special town board meeting so that we can have a public hearing to hear the residents' comments. Anyone who wishes to join us that evening, we will post instructions on the website. If you wish to participate, you can submit your comments on that plan. Not to be confused with the racial equity audit, which we also completed. It's soon to be finalized, if not this evening, soon to be in the next couple of days. And I want to thank again Councilwoman McGraw, Councilman McPartlin for supporting and sponsoring that effort. It was vital to the work that the collaborative has done. Many, if not all of those recommendations are going to be included in that final plan that will be submitted to the state. Many of you were on that call a couple of weeks ago. So I just want to reiterate the fact that there were two processes that were being conducted in conjunction with each other, both equally important. And ultimately, there's still going to be an opportunity for comment on the plan that will be submitted to the state on March 9th. And we hope to have a final plan available to be voted on by the town board at the regular March 23rd town board meeting. And subsequent to that, we hope that it will be submitted to the state in time for the April 1st deadline. So that's the update on the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative. Secondary update is going to be on when Town Hall is going to open again to the general public. We thank you all of our residents. You've been so patient, so wonderful in understanding all the limitations that we've had to go through. I know all of you have had to go through the same limitations as well. For the safety of our residents and our employees, we have been closed to the general public for a number of months. We are now tentatively scheduled to open on Monday, March 15th, with the Senior Center tentatively scheduled to open on Tuesday, March 16th. And that's all contingent on the fact that sufficient amount of the population in Niskuna and that together with our employees, that we hope to be sufficiently vaccinated by that point in time. So that's going to be an important benchmark that we are going to be monitoring closely. But at this point in time, we are scheduled to open again on Monday, March 15th. So it's been a long time coming. I can't even believe it that it's been a year. You know, that's going to be the anniversary of when we first closed, essentially. We closed our doors for the first time on March 15th of 2020, and now we're scheduled to reopen on that anniversary. So it's been quite a year, not just for us, but for many of you, I'm sure. But we will be so happy to see you all again. We're going to institute a lot of safety precautions to ensure that both our employees and the general public are safe if they choose to visit Town Hall. So keep your eyes peeled for successive emails that will be coming out, notifications related to that, to our reopening. So that will be an exciting time. So with that said, Supervisor's report is concluded. We're going to move on to our resolutions. We're going to
Madam Supervisor?
Yes.
I believe our comptroller has something to say. She's
Oh, okay. Yes. Ismet Alam.
And thank you for your report. That was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I just wanted to talk about CNA report quickly. So they incorporated all the public comments and they sent a report for a semi-final report to the town board for their comments. And unfortunately or fortunately, they have given us only 24 hours. So I sent that report to the town board members. And if you have any comments, please feel free to send it to them by early tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ismet, for all your hard work.
Very welcome. Thank you for the support for everybody.
Thank you. As the consummate Kramer, I'm sure I will get my comments in just before midnight. Thank you, Ismet. We're now going to move on to our resolution portion. We're going to begin with Resolution 2021-36, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the auction and sale of 2 vehicles.
Thank you. Do I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-37, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute an independent contractor and professional service agreement.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
I'm sorry, Madam Supervisor. I was just looking for the resolution. I just want to thank you for moving forward on this. This is a resolution, and it's something that we've done in the past. Tim Nagel has, he's retired, but he's just going to stay on for a short period of time to keep us moving and making sure that things, if we have any questions or anything, and Tim has been just an exemplary employee for decades for us, and we're just so grateful for all of his work, and we're grateful that he's going to be willing to pick up the phone when we have some questions when he walks out the door. So thank you, Madam Supervisor, for making this possible for us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-38, sponsored by Councilwoman Jakewith. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing 2 grounds maintenance workers in the Parks Department.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-39, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing certain budgetary modifications.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-40, sponsored by Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution permanently appointing an employee in the Police Department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I just want to welcome Mario. He's already been a police officer, but he's completed his probationary period, so that's what this is about. It's a person that we've hired, and he's been an excellent officer.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-41, sponsored by Councilman Delarada and Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to enact a local law amending Chapter 139 of the Town Code regarding vacant home registration.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-42, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute an independent contractor and professional service agreement for IT consultant.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Just very similar to Tim Nagel. Bill Lawrence was with us for decades, and he ran all our IT systems. He built it. We really, he started and we built it around us. So if we ever have questions, we have just a very limited, small contract in case, we just need him, something goes wrong, it goes terribly wrong, and we just need to discuss it with him quickly, or if we have any quick questions. So it's for a short period of time, but we are very grateful that Bill is willing to be available to us in his retirement.
Agreed. Thank you. Are there any further comments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-43, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution designating a broker of record.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-44, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilman McPartlin. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to call for a public hearing on the Town of Niskuna Police Reform and Reinvention Collaboration Plan.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-45, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to approve the reconciliation of corporate utility billing for the third quarter of 2020.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-46, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize a warrant for the fourth quarter 2020 corporate utility rents.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-47, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to retain professional engineering services on an as-need basis for 2021 TDE rates.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-48, sponsored by Councilwoman Jakewith and Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing student representatives to town advisory committees.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I'm thrilled to see these young people come forward. This is a wonderful group of people. I know some of them, their families, I know them. I'm just gonna single out, just because I've known her the longest, is Raina, who has, she's been an Niskuna Wild Turkey in the past. She is just a wonderful community volunteer, and I am thrilled to see all of these young people come forward. So I want to thank them all, and I look forward to working with them.
Yeah, I would like to join Councilwoman McGraw in welcoming these young people to the process. They will be integral to our decision making. I thank them for their continued volunteerism. I know from visiting each of the committees that they're very excited to have these young people join them and help them and be part of the process. So again, very thankful and looking forward to their participation.
Wonderful. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Welcome to our youngest group of committee members. Next resolution, 2021-49, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution appointing persons to advisory boards to the town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Just, I want to thank these individuals as well. What a wonderful group of people who are all so involved. Ann Thornton was she had a lot to say, and she was very helpful during the Knott Street improvement project. She is just a tremendous resource for us. Everybody knows Daryl Bray, and all, he bleeds Niskuna red. He's at every event. He comes to every meeting. He cares very much about all of this. Greg Diebold, thank you very much for being willing to serve. And Amy Sarah, we've only met via Zoom a couple of times, but the expertise that you are going to bring to Tree Council, being a science teacher and really loving these kinds of issues, I think will be terrific. So a wonderful group of people. I look forward to working with them as well.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to thank them as well. And we do still have several more seats open on some of these advisory boards. And as you know, it's a great way to put your input into the decisions and to shape the community that you're living in. It's a really great way to get your foot in the door. And for those students, hopefully this will be the first step to a long life of public service. So with that, I will vote yes, Supervisor.
Thank you, John. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Welcome to our newest committee members. Next resolution, 2021-50, sponsored by Supervisor Syed and Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to retain an independent contractor to provide grant writing and administrative services to the town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? I just want to thank Ismet Alam very quickly for spearheading this effort. As Councilwoman McGraw said earlier, this has been on our radar for a number of years. And we are so pleased to welcome this individual to the town of Niskuna to assist us in procuring some very much needed grant money. It helps everybody, helps the town, helps our residents, most importantly. So we're very much looking forward to this. So thank you so much, Ismet. And with that said, is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-51, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing bonding for the increase and improvements of facilities of Consolidated Water District Number 1 in the town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-52, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing bonding for joint increase and improvements of facilities of Water District Number 1, Sewer District Number 1, and Sewer District Number 6 in the town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-53, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing bonding for the increase and improvements of facilities of Sewer District Number 6 in the town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-54, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing with a response to the comptroller's to the town's comprehensive emergency plan, management plan. Sorry.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? No sound?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Was there something that you wanted to point out about this resolution?
Did we get a second?
I thought Bill,
Yeah,
Oh.
Bill did.
if not,
Sorry.
I'll
You
second.
did.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Bill. I didn't hear it. I heard an echo of myself. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Great.
I don't have something to say for once. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, that's perfectly fine. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-55, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution calling for a public hearing on the proposed amendment to Section 69 of the Code of the Town of Niskuna.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I heard it this time. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Aye,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-56, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to enter into a contract with Energy Systems Group.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2021-57, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a full-time court clerk.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw,
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin,
Aye.
Supervisor Syed,
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Before I entertain a motion to adjourn, I'm going to make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection F, to discuss the employment history of a particular person or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person. And I have a second on that motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Supervisor, I wasn't aware that we were having executive session and I can't join. It wasn't on the agenda. No, it wasn't discussed. So I'm not going to be able to join.
Okay. So I have a motion. I have a second. Do I at least have a quorum in favor? So I'll say aye.
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 Okay, so we have a quorum in favor. So we are going to enter into executive session. At the conclusion of executive session, we will take up no further business. We will be adjourned for the evening. So thank you all for joining us this evening. Our next special town board meeting is going to be March 9th. Again, that's Tuesday, March 9th. So join us again on that evening. But again, at the conclusion of executive session, we will be adjourned and we will see you on March 9th. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Nay.
Thank you.